Moody tweens.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Behind the Scenes. And we've got a big topic to talk about today. It is moodiness. And I'm assuming if you have teenagers, you know what we're talking about. Are there kids who get through adolescence without moodiness? And if you have one of them, please let us know. It is a unicorn.
Maybe don't let us know.
Okay. Well, of my five, I can say we're 5 for 5. One of the things I will start with is what I did for way too long that didn't work. And I don't know why when something doesn't work, I don't pivot quickly enough when it came to parenting. But my approach was stop. And there's literally what's the show? Frasier has an episode where he's a therapist, and I can't remember who the actor was that comes in. She sits down and he says to her, you know, it's $5 for the session, and I don't give you any money if it ends early. And she's like, okay. And he says, okay, what's your problem? And she goes, my problem is blah, 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 blah. And he goes, okay, stop. And she's like, what? And he goes, just stop. Stop worrying about it. Stop talking about it. Stop. So that's what my kids used to tell me I do, which I did forever. Like they would come in and they'd be like, yeah. And this whole thing, I'd be like, just stop. It didn't work. It never, ever worked. And yet I continued to do it. But what I did learn because of your teen and because of all these fantastic experts, I learned to ignore it. And it turns out it was very much almost like a night terror in my house. Like kids had something that was bothering them and they had to express it in whatever inappropriate way they were doing it. And if I just let it happen, it disappeared. And the arguing about it or telling them, don't talk to me this way, or take your mood and bring it somewhere else, that just really escalated the crisis. But the like letting it run its course, it was like magical. You didn't even have to say anything. You didn't even have to go, your insanity sounds so scary. I'm so sorry. You didn't have to say anything. And it just ran its course. So I highly recommend that. It was not my idea. I wish I could say who I attribute it to. It was not my idea, but it worked like a charm. Okay, I have to pass this. I'm going to pass this to Sharon.
Good morning, everyone. This is so funny because I feel like it doesn't account for our moods, because my problem is I have to try to prevent that mood from bringing my mood down. And so it does work for me if I'm feeling pretty good already and I just try to be as objective as I can, like I'm an anthropologist. Because when your kid's in one of those moods and it's just a litany of complaints, like nothing is right, the bed was uncomfortable, the wrong thing is for breakfast, it just goes on. And sometimes if I'm in a good place myself, I can think to myself, okay, that's 1, that's 2, okay, here we go. We're getting up to like 5 or 6, everything's wrong. And if I can think in my head, like, okay, this is kind of funny if you think about it, but ideally, it's usually not funny. It's just super annoying. But Sue, I totally agree with you that if I can't even get there, that's like my ideal, that I can just be funny about it, really, or amused about it. That doesn't happen very much. Next best is if I can stop myself from engaging, stop myself from saying stop, or like trying to fix it even, like it doesn't, it's just like, it has to be like a wave in the ocean, I'm finding. And I have to be strong. I have to be calm. This is the hardest part, but yes, it does. And my only little practical tip that often will work, but not always, is to get pets involved. So, if you have a kid who's really moody in the morning, waking up, I'll just come and dump that pet right on top of them to wake them up. They're not going to yell at the pet, but it can diffuse things. Or I'll be like, I'll say, they'll complain about something. I'm like, well, the cat, whatever the cat's name is, the dog's name, does not like that either. It'll just be silly. And sometimes they'll get mad, but sometimes it'll diffuse things. I don't know. your mileage may vary. I'm going to pass it down to Kamira.
Thank you. Good morning. Okay. First, I have to admit, I'm extremely moody myself. So things can be combustible in our house if you catch me in the wrong mood and there's a tween or something mood going on. Sometimes I try when confronted with their moods to be silly and funny, and it annoys them and they roll their eyes, but to let them know that they're not going to get to me. But if I'm in a mood that is not compatible, then things can get really ugly. And as they get older, I learned to just be honest and be like, you know what? I'm really not in the mood for this. Like Thursday, we had an incident and my teen was in a mood and I needed him to do something. And he just blew up about stuff that had nothing to do with what I asked him to do. So I just looked at him and said, okay, let's agree that I am a horrible mother. I am the worst mother, but that has nothing to do with what I need you to do. And I can't have you derail me because it needs to be done. And his eyes just got big. And he's like, no, you're putting words in my mouth. Years ago, I think it's, if you have somebody else in the house, another adult, you should confide in that person and just make fun of your kids behind their back. That's what my husband and I do. We just make fun of them. I've literally gone out into the living room. Our bedroom's on the first floor and their bedrooms are on the other floor. So I've gone out into the first floor and it's all open and they're in the kitchen and you can sense a mood and run back into the bedroom and lock the door and told my husband, don't go out there. There are hormones flying everywhere. And we just sit there and make fun of them. And that is my survival technique. So if you have somebody else that you can do that with over the phone or in your house, I think you should bond with somebody else who understands the plight of dealing with the teen hormones. I'm going to pass it over to Jen. I got it.
Thank you, Kamira. Thanks for the laugh about being the world's most horrible mom. I'm sure we've all used that line in some version or another to put our children on their back. Um,
I think
My
Jen
internet
is Jen, we lost you for a minute. Do you want to?
I saw it. Yes,
Okay.
I was going to drop a really good nugget, and then the internet was like, "No, you're not. Sorry." So anyway, what I think is interesting.
Okay, you lost your turn, Jen. No good nuggets.
Hey, that's not fair. I'm gonna have a mood right now. I have noticed. I only have girls, but I have nephews, and I have friends who have boys. The moodiness, it presents in different ways. So like girl moodiness can be really volatile, I think, a lot of times. And correct me if I'm wrong, people with boys. Sometimes I notice boys, their moodiness is more like what I would call sullenness or sulkiness. Like sometimes I have friends who say their boys just went silent for like 2 years. They got nothing more than like the grunt or the eye roll or just total. I'm getting a lot of reaction from D on this. And so it's really hard to there's no like one size fits all for how you deal with that, because with the volatility, certainly the don't engage seems like the right way to go, right? Who wants to get involved with that mess of crazy? But I don't know what you do when the moodiness is the kid, whether it's a boy or a girl or whatever, who just won't engage with you. Like, I don't know how you deal with that. That is a whole different subtext. So I'm going to let somebody else deal with that. But in terms of the moodiness of like, the attitude or the surliness, verbal, I would have to coach my husband a lot on this. He'd be like, what is wrong with that person? What is going on? And I'm like, this is totally age appropriate. And you just don't remember because it was a long time ago, or maybe you didn't act this way, but your sister probably did. You just have to, like Sharon said, it's the wave of the ocean. And one of you at all times has to be the one to be able to say, just let it go. Let it go. Let it go. If only one of you can do it, that's fine. And if you're a single parent, I don't know how you, like, it has to be you all the time who's like, I'm just not going to let it get to me. Is there a value, though, sometimes to showing them that we have moods, too? I mean, we're people. We're allowed to have moods. I think that's okay, too. I think sometimes for us to cop to
We're
it.
not. Jen, we are not people in our children's eyes.
Yeah. All right. Never mind. That was a terrible idea. I'm going to put my moods right back in. Stuff it down. Stuff it down. All right. Eka, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Well, as I've confessed many times on this on this broadcast is I tend to be really thin-skinned. So this mood, sometimes I feel like, I take it personally instead of saying, oh, it's just moodiness. So I know that, so I started doing things differently. And one of the things that I learned, which we've discussed before, is, are you asking the question is, are you venting because you're upset and moody, or are you looking for a solution from me? And then listening and then getting that answer. So sometimes I would get the answer of, I don't know what's happening right now. Okay. A lot of times if I got really bad, I'd say, you know what? We're not doing well here together. So I think the best suggestion is maybe for you or me to leave. And then when we both can collect our thoughts and not do this, we can come back together. But maybe right now is not the best time for us to spend time together. So, it's kind of like when the kids were little, it was my version of Mama needs a timeout kind of thing, which, I used to use that sometimes when I couldn't deal with the toddlers or whatever. I would say like, Mommy needs a timeout. And then I would do something different, or I'd leave or whatever. So it's kind of that version of physical separation sometimes, I think. Otherwise you start engaging or you say stop or whatever, and it just doesn't work. And sometimes you just need not to be in the same room to listen to it. So that's what I tended to do, so that I wouldn't because I would then engage and then it just gets awful. So that's what I did. So I think, Dee, you want to go? Let's hear what you've got to say.
Hey, everybody. So what do I have to say? I think I'm shocked to know that boys are so moody. I thought it was a girl thing. So when I asked God for boys, I kind of thought that I had something going on here. No. So I can't remember who said it, if it was Jen, Sharon, or Kamira, but so for my boys, they don't talk much. There's very little engagement. And I'm like, wow, so I just got to wing this thing along, huh? I want some friends. I want someone to talk to. And they just don't do it. So like Sharon said, in terms of the waves, I just wait for them to be in the mood to talk. And then I just have to have a life, because if I'm waiting on them to be my life, it's not happening. And then I have to share this picture with y'all. Can y'all see my little Mason when he was a little boy, like 2 years old? He's reading his book. It's upside down. He's reading his book in pre-K. So this is where I'm stuck. And these are the kids that I want to talk to, my babies, and they don't want to hear it. So the moodiness is not like girl moodiness. The mood for them, it's quiet. It's not wanting to talk, wanting to be alone, wanting to do their own thing. And so, and I think it was Kamira who said, have a partner in crime that you can bounce your love on and your ideas with, and know that you're not crazy. So I'll go in and tell my husband, they're at it again, and so he's like, I needed to know that it's not me, that I'm not a bad mother and I'm not crazy. And so we've kind of confirmed that we're pretty decent parents and we just have nutty kids. So.
Dee, I wanted to give you a little ray of hope. They do come out on the other side, whether it was the quiet kind or the crazy up and down kind. They do come out on the other side, and they become these delightful individuals that you want to reconnect with. And they will be your, more of that friend you could talk to later. But it could be a few more years. Okay. And also, I want to tell you, it happens first with other adults than it does with you. Other people will say to you, wow, so-and-so is just charming and delightful. Yes. So much fun to talk to. And you're like, really?
I'm like, what did they say? Tell me, because they don't talk to me.
Yeah, so that's going to happen.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. There's hope. All right. Has everyone gone?
Jessica.
Jess, my buddy Jess.
I've been texting my mom, I'm like, okay, do you have any story? Because like my two brothers were the moodiest people on the planet, and it was just an endless source of argument between them and my dad, just a lot. And I'm like, hey, Mom, was I ever like moody? And she's like, no. And I'm like, I need more to go on. I'm on Facebook Live. She's like, I remember one single time, and it was so out of character. I was surprised. I'm like, what time was that? No response. So
okay, I'm gonna confirm what Jessica is saying, because you're just always like this. You see kindness in everybody, goodness in everybody. You're just like this level person. You're not like that. So I can see how your mother would have that memory.
Yeah, I do remember finding like my middle school diary. Not that I ever like remembered to keep a diary, and have been like finding all of this like super edgy poetry that's just like, all of my friends are leaving me and nobody wants to talk to me and I'll be alone forever. And I'm like, was I depressed in middle school? And I asked my best friend, who was like, everybody was depressed in middle school. So I'm like, I guess maybe I just channeled it all into this diary that I kept so infrequently. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's not moodiness. That's drama. There's so much drama.
It's just an angsty time.
Yeah, so I want to say that yes, everyone comes out of it, and the thing I'm most grateful for is I had a lot of fear around my kids. They scared me because in a second I could turn a very lovely event into something that was like just unpleasant for all, and that could be my reaction to a mood. And so, like, really, with all these tips, I think you are all armed to do better than like hitting it head on and thinking that you're going to win if you do it that way. I'm here to tell you it never worked in my house. Okay, Kamira, can you share with us who you're talking to tomorrow and what the topic is?
Yes. And I also want to give you another hint. If you have a parenting mentor, go to them when the moods hit. I have a mommy mentor whose kids are a little bit older than mine. And sometimes I just call her and she's like, oh, what happened now? And then she'll tell me a story about her wonderful adult kids doing something even more egregious than what I just shared. And I feel better after that. Tomorrow, we have Janice Saunders. We're going to be talking about weaving healthy habits into families, beginning with the parents. If you're healthy, you're going to model healthiness for your kids. You're going to weave it into your daily practices with the family. And it all sounds good. We all know that. But where do we begin? Most of us need a restart, post-COVID restart. And she's going to talk to us about the importance of the restarts, that you should need seasonal restarts. And it looks different for different seasons of life and different seasons of the year. So don't be so hard on yourself. Be gentle and be open to the restarts. That's tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time.
Okay, I'm going to share Christina's comment. Hey, Christina, we're so glad you shared this. And here it comes. I have been surprised by boy moodiness. Thank you for giving me hope. Yeah, it does appear, it appears differently. In my house, it was sullen. In some ways, it scared me more because it looked a lot like depression in my house. It looked like, closing the door and working through anger or moodiness or whatever you want to talk about. And I found it very alarming. Like, just tell me that you're okay. I said it to my kid one time. I said, I will leave you alone if you just utter the words to me. I am okay. I need an hour alone. And then I can walk away. But it was like scary for me. I was used to these volatile girls, like that I got. Okay. So thanks, Christina, for sharing. And Jen is going to share with us an update.
So remember when I told you that eventually they become those people that reconnect with you again? In my case, it happened when they did something magical, which is they left and they went away to college. And whether they go to college or just leave your house and come back, that seems to be like the crucial nugget. Somehow you improve upon them when they leave. Maybe it's just developmental. I don't know. But speaking of that thing, that reminded me, we have a really fabulous program that we want everybody to know about called Destination College that starts tomorrow night. And it is a really, really phenomenal parenting series of eight installments, bite-sized crunchy nuggets, an hour each, everything you ever want to know, plus time to talk to experts and get questions answered, everything you want to know about how to launch your kid to college. Great tips, great experts, great inside information you would not get from anybody else. And it's all from your team who we already are giving you great information, so you can trust it. So there's a link in here to sign up. And there's going to be some incentives to people who sign up too, some really good incentives. So you definitely want to get on board today. If you join, you can get in for half price only because we like you, just because we like you. So make sure you do that. And then tomorrow we're going to announce a really, really big incentive to anybody who signs up for Destination College. And it's something you're really going to want to know about. So come on board.
Yeah, so you can get thanks, Jen. You can get half price today, and you will also get everyone who's already signed up will be part of tomorrow's announcement, which is
Yeah.
very exciting. Sharon has something to say.
Don't wait until tomorrow to sign up. You want to sign up so that you're eligible for all the goodies that we have. So yes, very exciting.
Yes. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you, Christina, for being a commenter. We love that. And everybody have a great week. We'll see you next week.